Hi guys, happy Friday. It is November the 13th, I think. No, that can't be right. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh my gosh, it's Friday the 13th. Eek! Today we are just going to do a quick review of everything we've talked about weather versus climate, because we know those words can be similar, but they're also very different. So what I wanted you guys to have a chance to do today with me is watch a quick brain pop video that talks about weather. And then we're going to follow it with a brain pop video that talks about climate. And we're going to talk about the similarities and the differences. And then you guys will have a quick classwork activity for today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that way we can watch the video. We're going to start with weather.
I'm not paying you for a weather forecast. You know there are lots of places where you can get the weather for free, right? No, they actually use state-of-the-art satellite technology and computer models and...
Oh, I'm filming.
Well, that's not a very nice thing to say about Al Roker. Dear Tim and Moby, what is weather?
All right, here we go.
Sincerely, Domenica.
What is weather?
Basically, weather is the condition of the atmosphere at a certain place and time. Well, the weather depends on a lot of factors. First off, there's temperature. You probably all know about that. It's a measure of how hot or cold the air is.
So when they're talking about what the atmosphere is like, they're talking about our air. What is our air like? So that includes temperature, precipitation, that includes the clouds, what the clouds look like, wind, all of those sorts of things have to do with weather at a specific time.
And it depends on how much energy the air receives from the sun. Temperature is measured with a device called a thermometer and is usually calculated in degrees Celsius or degrees Fahrenheit.
But we use
Temperature is related to another factor, humidity. Humidity is the amount of water vapor in the air. Yep, the air around us is full of water. You can't usually see it, but it evaporates from lakes, rivers, oceans, even from trees.
We are going to start talking about this next week when we start talking about the water cycle and how water really is all around us and how it moves through the different cycles. And one of those stages is evaporation, which we will talk about next week.
There are two types of humidity. Absolute humidity is a measure of how much water vapor the air is capable of holding. The hotter the air is, the more moisture it can hold. Relative humidity is a measure of how much moisture there actually is in the air. It's expressed as a percentage of the absolute humidity. If the relative humidity is 100%, it means the air is totally saturated with water. When the humidity rises, the air feels heavy, sticky, and uncomfortable.
Memphis gets very humid in the summer. Not only is it hot, but there's also humidity, which is where we can feel the water in the air. It feels damp and wet.
That's right. When the humidity gets near 100%, the air can't hold any more moisture. If the temperature falls at this point, the water vapor starts returning to its original liquid state. It comes together in a process called condensation. When condensation happens close to the ground, it can produce mist or fog. And way high up in the atmosphere, condensation makes clouds. Eventually, the water in the clouds comes back to Earth as rain, snow, or...
We're going to talk more about this next week.
Hail. What next? Oh, right, air pressure. You might not realize it, but the air around you actually has weight. We measure air pressure with a device called a barometer. In areas of high pressure, air slowly descends toward the Earth's surface. High pressure areas are associated with clear, sunny days. In areas of low pressure, air rises upward into the atmosphere. Low pressure areas bring high humidity, clouds, and, you guessed it, rain and other precipitation. When you look at a weather map, you'll see all the different areas of high and low pressure marked with big H's and L's. These air masses are constantly moving around. A high pressure area that's over Ohio on Wednesday might be over New York City on Thursday. The boundaries between these air masses are called fronts, and that's where heavy storms and other serious weather can take place. Anyway, an area's long-term weather patterns determine its climate. For example, areas near the equator have a warm climate, while areas near the poles have a much colder.
So here we go, talking about the difference with climate. Weather is what the air is like at a specific time. So today, the weather is warm and sunny, but weather can change often. Today, it might be warm and sunny, but on Friday, it might be cold and rainy. Climate is what the weather is like over a long period of time. Oh, hold on 1 second, you guys. Sorry, you guys, there was an announcement. I didn't mean to interrupt. Um, Anyways, to what we were saying, climate is what the weather is like over a long period of time. So places such as the South Pole and the North Pole have a climate of being very cold and snowy. It is always like that there. All right, let's keep going.
Their climate. So that's weather. Wow, whoever signed up for your site must be really desperate.
What I want to do now, you guys, is go ahead and let's compare what we talked about weather, how they talked about thermometers and wind vanes and barometers and all of those different tools that we use to measure weather. We're going to compare that to what we learn about climate. And we're going to look at some of the different climate types in our world. So Ms. Smith is going to go ahead and pull up that video, and we will watch that one as well.
Waiting for the school bus. Dear Tim and Moby, what's the difference between weather and climate?
Here we go.
From the Leech. Weather is what's going on with the atmosphere at any particular time. Right now, it's not looking so good. Climate is an area's pattern of weather over a long period of time. Well, for example, people say Southern California has a warm, sunny climate because so many days are warm and sunny. But climate is about more than just sunshine. Climatologists, the people who study climate, define it by many factors, including averages of precipitation, temperature, and air pressure. They divide the Earth into 5 major climate types. Tropical climates are found close to the equator.
So here's our first example of a climate type, and it is tropical. These are the places that are close to the equator. So where the orangutans live, those islands in Asia, that is a tropical climate. It's very, very hot, lots of sunshine, but they also get lots of rain, which makes it very humid.
They receive more sunlight than any other area, which means they're often very, very hot. In fact, temperatures in tropical areas average higher than 18 degrees Celsius or 64 degrees Fahrenheit every month.
All these green areas on the map.
Actually, the major climate types are divided into subtypes too. Like tropical climates exist in places with lots of rainfall, such as rainforests, as well as drier areas like the savannas of Africa. A little bit farther away from the equator are dry or arid climates. These places usually get less than 25 centimeters of rain per year. They include deserts like the Sahara. No, not all dry zones are hot. Cold deserts like the Gobi in Asia have temperatures that often drop below freezing. The third group is made up of mild or temperate climates. In these areas, the summers can be hot, but the winters are not very cold.
This is like where we live. We live in a temperate climate. It's very mild. We get hot in the summer, cold in the winter, but not like so cold where we get buried in our houses by snow.
You can find temperate climates along the Mediterranean Sea, in the south and west coast of North America, and in Australia, Southern Africa, and parts of South America. Continental climates have a wider temperature range with much colder winters. They're found in the northern hemisphere below the Arctic Circle. You can find them in the interiors of continents and on their eastern coasts. Humid continental climates with warm summers and cold winters are located throughout North America and Eastern Europe. Subarctic continental climates are found a little bit further north, in Canada and northern Russia. Finally, the polar climates are known for their consistently cold temperatures. Every month of the year averages below 10 degrees Celsius.
So polar climates are a good example of climates at the North and the South Pole. They are very, very cold. They don't see much sunlight. They do see sunlight, but it's mostly lots of snowstorms.
Yes, you're very clever. The polar climates do tend to appear at the north and south poles of the planet. Well, a lot of factors determine an area's climate. For example, places near oceans tend to have more moderate climates than landlocked areas. The temperature of the ocean doesn't fluctuate as much as the temperature inland. That means areas on the shore tend to have cooler summers and milder winters. Ocean currents also have a big impact on climate. You may have heard of a big current in the Atlantic Ocean called the Gulf Stream. It brings warm water from the tropics north toward Western Europe. This warm water makes the climate in Western Europe a lot milder than it would be otherwise. Yep, an area's climate determines the plants and animals that can live there, and even the type of geological features you might see. See what I mean?
So hopefully you guys, those were some good examples and information about comparing weather and climate. I'm going to post your Google form, which is just a few questions to kind of review everything we've talked about weather and climate, and I will be checking them after school today. Have a good day, and I will see you guys on Monday. Bye.